Baruch, are you part of us? No, I say only koch. You're very important to me. Don't get intimidated. I'm also intimidated. Okay, I want to do what gets on a number of people's nerves, and go to a different place in Reb Tzadok. I just feel, my minhag for years and years is in Elul to learn about Teshuvah and Rosh Hashanah, and I just want to do this week or next week just Reb Tzadok's huge chiddush in Teshuvah, which in truth is that even though I like to go in order, the truth be told that this is quintessential Reb Tzadok. In other words, this is to understand what Reb Tzadok was doing b'chlal, like where was his ingenious mind throughout everything that he writes, and what was deeper than that, what was the big chiddush that he received from the Izbitcher Rebbe when he came to Izbich, to Lublin. What was the big chiddush that he received that was transformative? He wrote the Tzidkas Hatzadik and more svarim, just with this chiddush. And really, the chiddush appears, we could do some bekiyas here and learn all over Tzidkas Hatzadik and the other svarim, but I just want to try to get to the essence of it. It really comes down to teshuvah. Now, we all know the Gemara in Yuma Pevav, the most, probably the most famous Gemara in the union of teshuvah, and the most enigmatic on the one hand, and the most encouraging. And that is that the Gemara says, Gedola teshuvah, shizdonos nasalei k'schuyos. We're familiar with that Gemara, that if you do teshuvah, so even, I should say even, also an avera, which a person did b'mezid, like you killed somebody. B'mezid, you're machal Shabbos, b'farhes, you ate treif, whatever, name your sin. So even an avera that you did mamish b'mezid, after you do tshuva, not that the goes away, but that the avera turns into a schus. Zidonos nasaloi k'schuyos, and under Reb Tzadok, that's the Gemara. The Gemara says that Zidonos nasaloi k'schuyos, that tshuva has a koach. Now, just to meditate on it for a second, we understand the chiddush of tshuva. The chiddush of tshuva is that I did something wrong, like we could do tshuva with another person, which is actually a good example for me, because let's say you hurt somebody else, insult somebody, embarrass them in public, whatever, talk lashon hara about them, God forbid. So if you hurt somebody in public, which we're, adam hu ad la'ilam, like it happens, so you have to ask a person, mechila, that's your tshuva. And the person's meichel you, and you're done with it. So do we say that if you did it b'mezid, it becomes a schus? Like, we're better friends than ever. It sounds nice. I don't know. For me personally, no, I don't really trust you anymore, but okay. Like, we'll get along. We'll agree to get along. But with HaKadosh, so I don't know how that works, but with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I just want to be Mekarav Elaseichel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, maybe it's true Medam L'Chaver also. If there's a real tshuva, a real mechila, and we really, we all hug and live happily ever after, maybe it's better. Maybe, but even if you say, just to make the point very clearly, even if you'll say we're back to where we started, or even if you'll say, like it actually improved our relationship somehow. We're saying something even deeper here, to be clear. This that I did, dafka b'mezid, I really went out to hurt you, that's going to become like a good thing. It's a good thing you came out to hurt me because this made us very close. That's already, like the Gemara is saying, that's a big chiddush, a chiddush of the Gemara. The chiddush that we're back to where we started from is the godless adam, that we can do such a thing. We can forgive, we can ask forgiveness. That even improves our relation good, but thank you for doing that, embarrassing me in public. That was just fantastic, Lamafreya. I mean, thank you for ruining my business. Thank you for ruining my marriage. That was just great. So it's like the Zdonos, I'll leave the marriage part out because sometimes, but Zdonos Nasa Kischuyos is a Chiddush of the Gemara. So point one is like, it doesn't begin with Reb Tzadok, it begins with Chazal. Yuma Pevav. Comes to Tzadok, if you turn your book to Os Mem, and I'm going to travel a bit here just to understand the concept. And look at the words carefully. Can I ask somebody to do me a big favor and just get me a cup of water? Just let me enjoy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, I got it.
Ask for something bigger.
What's my next wish, Gil? Says Rav Tzadok, oh, thank you. Ikar Tshuva, the main thing at Tshuva, who, Ad Shiur Hashem Einov, she used Doinos Kischuyos. Now you see what he's adding on to the Gemara, Tafla Vavela. Not just that there's this fact going on in Shemayim, that your Zdonos became Kischuyos, your Mezid became a schus for you. Not just that, but the Rav Tzadok adds this piece, makes it, this is the Chiddush. Ad Shiur Hashem Einov, until you yourself realize. Tshuva is to the point where you yourself realize, Yoyer Einov, Yoyer Hashem Einov, Hashem illuminates my thinking. She used Doinos Kischuyos. I don't know about you, I had to read this like 4 or 5 times. He's talking about if a person does tshuva.
No, he's talking about the sinner?
The sinner.
The fact that I did something
for sure the sinner, the guy is doing tshuva. So when do we say, tremendous chiddush in 3 words, when do we say the lashon of the Gemara that if you do tshuva, which the Gemara explains later means mi'ava, which we'll explain, tshuva mi'ava, that is doinos nasa kischuyos, if I myself get it in my head, that look at that, my zadon became a schus. Meaning, if I don't get it, this is not a back room working up in Shemayim, but I have to somehow get it. Now, Reb Tzadok and many other places say it's impossible to get it because there's something. In fact, I can start more down a tangent. But do you know if you say Zmiris? So in the Zmiris of Shalshudas, Sudash Shlishit, so there's one of the Zmiros which is written by Rabbi Avraham Yamin, Maimon, but Yamin it's called, and he was one of the Talmidei Muvhakim of Ramosha Cardavaro in Tzfas, Chaver of the Arizal. So he wrote a song called Kel Mistater B'Shever Chavyoin. You familiar? So, well, everybody's got their nigga in them. I happen to sing this at Shulchan. So, Kel Mistater B'Shever. I just want to read the first paragraph. This is Rav Tzadok quotes all the time. Kel Mistater B'Shafir Chavyoin Haseichel Hanela Mikol Rayon. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Kel mistater b'shafir chevyoin. Hashem hides b'shafir chevyoin in the beauty of. Hashem covers himself in the beauty of hiding. Chevyon is like lashon li'itchabe, to hide. So Hashem hides not his beauty, in the beauty of chevyon, of hiddenness. Haseichel, keywords, haseichel hanelam mikol rayon. And there's Hashem's seichel, Hashem's seichel is ne'elam, it's hidden, mikol rayon, from anybody who can understand anything. Like there's no physicist, there's no Talmud Chacham, there's no Kabbalist that's going to understand the kel mistater b'shafir chevyon. Ha'ilais muhtar b'cheser elyon. The Elais means the reason of all reasons is muhtar. We give him a keser elyon, keser yitnu l'cha Hashem, which is of course what Nusach Sfard says in Kedusha. Keser yitnu l'cha Hashem. So we know in the spheros, just a basic understanding here, In the spheros, how many spheros are there? Good. Good. So there's 7 revealed spheros, and there's 3 hidden spheros. The revealed spheros, I mean, everything is hidden, but the revealed spheros are things we can sort of see in this world. Chesed, Gevura. You can see the Chesed of Hashem. You can see the Gevura. Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid. You see the base of Mikdash. You see Hoid. You see Yosef Hatzadik. You see Yesod. Malchus, Mashiach. Those are all things that manifest themselves and sprout in the world of Gashmias. But there's 3 spheres ahead of that. And the 3 spheres ahead of that are, according to the way the Arizal counts, Keser, Chachma, and Bina. Most people are familiar with Chachma, Bina, Vadas. That's a different thing. But it's Keser, the way the Sefer Yetzirah says it, it's Keser, Chachma, Obina. So Keser is the highest part. I'm not qualified to say, is it actually Hashem already, or is it, well, whatever. But those 3 spheros, Keser, Chachma, Bina, that's hidden from us. We don't understand it. And we don't understand the Chachma of Hashem. We don't understand the Bina of Hashem. What we could start understanding is the Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. The Sefer Yetzirah says, as is known, it says it in Pirkei Avos also, B'asara ma'amaros nivra olam. The world was created with 10 utterances. So the Gemara asks a question, what Tisha Hava? There's only 9. If you look at the word Vayomer, it only appears 9. So it says the Gemara, Brachus Nami Maimerhu. When it says Brachus Bar Elokim, that's a Shemayim Vazaris, that's also a Maimer. So if you count the word Brachus, you get 10 Vayomer, so to speak, in the Maisa Brachus. And that's the Chap Asar Ma'amaris Nivra Olam. That's what Pirkei Avos says, but in the Sefer Yetzirah it says these are Keneged, the Eser Spheros. So this is not Hasidish, this is the Ran. The Ran asked the question, if that's the case, so if Brachus Nami Maimerhu, if Brachus is a Maimer, so why doesn't it say Vayomer? Why doesn't it say Vayomer Hashem, Brachus Bar Elokim, Shemayim Vazaris, or whatever the Nusach God would have used? Why doesn't it say Vayomer? What do we have to learn? Brachus Nami Vayomer. So Al Pi Rab Tzadok, the Ran explains, he brings a Ran, but Al Pi Rab Tzadok, the Ran explains that the pshat is Vayomer is already something we can relate to. It's already something we can understand. Amira, Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe, Lemor. I'm speaking to you, maybe they're not going to get this Vaydaber Hashem, but Lemor, you say it over in a way that they can get it. So when we're talking about Asar Ma'amaris, something we have a concept in, yeah? Like you have a concept, and Hashem said there should be sun, and there's a sun. There should be water, there's water, trees, trees. We understand. But Bereshis Bara Lakimas Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz, that's, yes, it was a mimer, but it's and that's where this comes from, those mirrors. That's called in the Sefer Yetzirah, the Seichel Hanelam Mikol Rayim. So I'm just teaching you something new. That the Keser, that's called Keser. Keser, Chachma Bina, the actual ex nihilo of creation, the actual Yesh Mi'ayin of creation, is not something anybody understands. We can understand, scientists could understand, Mekubalim could understand Yesh Mi'yesh. They can't understand Yesh Mi'ayin. They can't understand it, so they come up with all kinds of theories. All of, evolution and every other theory that's been through history is all about Yesh Mi'yesh. But it never talks about Yesh Mi'ayin, because Yesh Mi'ayin, like where did that come from? That germ, or that monkey, or whatever it was. So that's not scientific territory. Maybe there was a big, what are they called? Big Bang. Okay, and who did that? Like you can't.
There wasn't a Big Bang anymore.
Huh?
I'm not even sure there was a Big Bang anymore.
Okay. Whatever you're going to say, you don't get to Yesh Mi'ayin. Just not something. So what's the pshat? That's Bereshis Bara Elokim Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz. That's where religion comes in. That Yesh Mi'ayin is where we come in. But we have to understand that it's a Seichel Hanelam Mikol Ra'ayon. This is the Seichel which is hidden Mikol Ra'ayon. It comes from Tzadok in a number of places, and he says a Gavaldik Chiddush. He says that we can't understand ex nihilo. We can't understand Bereshis bara Elokim, yesh mi'ayin. And we also can't understand how's doinos nasa k'schuyos, because that happens over there. But we can, Achi yoyer Hashem einov sheyuz doinos k'schuyos. There is a, I don't even know how to say this, how to define it. It could be like a regesh. Like sometimes we understand something, we don't even know what we're understanding. Like sometimes we just get something, we get it. You get it. Like sometimes in a relationship, like you don't understand, and all of a sudden you get it. It doesn't mean that you can understand it in a mathematical way or in a psychological way. It just means that you get it. Like sometimes we just understand. Like I think that the real geniuses in this world in general, like they get it. They don't necessarily even aren't. If they could articulate it, then gewaldig, they win a Nobel Prize. But you chap something. You could chap something in the bria. You could chap something in relationships. That it's just a certain type of an insight. But that this is Reb Tzadok's chiddush, which we must know this chiddush. I think we have to integrate this. That's our relationship with the seichel hanelam mikol rayon. So the neshama is able to understand it, and that's what he calls all the time yair einov. Hashem illuminates me. It's a form of illumination. Everyone following me here? It's hard to follow me because I'm not saying anything. I don't understand myself. But there's such a thing. I would venture to say that everybody has had this experience of some kind of a blitz and some kind of an understanding that you just didn't understand before. I believe, for the most part, if people become a Baal Tshuva, not even in the sense that we're talking about now, but like in general, Baal Tshuva, they could try to write a book about their Tshuva experience, but the emes it's a moment. The emes is, I have a little bit of experience in this. The emes is, it's not personal, I didn't do Tshuva yet, but with Baalei Tshuva, in the cultural sense, it's a certain, like a moment of, an aha moment, and that's the Seichel Hanelam in action. So Seichel Hanelam Mikol Rayon. So now, when we're talking about, this is important, when we're talking about Zidonos, Nasa Kischuyos, it's not necessarily something you see right here. This is taking place, which is clear, in the world of Keser. The Gemara says this. The Gemara says, "Gadol tshuva shemagiat kisei hakavod." There's a whole big 6 shitas over there as to where tshuva goes, but it goes to the world of Keser, of Seichel Hanelam. It goes to the world of the Keser, which is beyond our understanding, yet it's part of the Bria, so it's part of what we understand. It's something reminds me, like when the Gemara says, "Afal pi de'yu lo chazi mazli chazi." Sometimes you don't see it, but your mazel sees it. I'm not sure that there's a certain extra part of us which is able to see. So says Reb Tzadok, "Ikar tshuva hu ad sheyoyer Hashem einov," until we get it, b'seichel hanelam, sheyuz doinos kischuyos. When we understand that when we did a mezid, that was actually a schus. Now, how are we supposed to understand that? So it turns into a schus. That's when that happens. That's when that happens. And here he says, I love when he says this, Ritzayni loymar. I'm always imagining Reb Tzadok. It was his yard site this week. I always imagine sitting at a tish with the Hasidim and saying something, and everybody and he would say, Ritzayni loymar. What I'm trying to say here is the following, like Ritzayni loymar. So I need to explain what I'm just saying. So Ritzayni loymar, what I want with this is, Sheyakir v'yavin, that a person recognizes and understands Shekol ma shechata hayagam kein b'rtzayim Hashem yisparach. That every chet that we have done was also the Ratzon Hashem. It's such a hard concept and maybe a dangerous concept. That every chet that we have done is the Ratzon Hashem. Has to be the Ratzon Hashem because this. So what the next paragraph, which I'm actually I want to do next week, has to do with, if you look at the next paragraph, B'tam Yediya u'Bechira. How does it work with Yediya and Bechira? So I just want to give a little parenthesis here. that the Rambam asked the question, or the Rambam in Hilchos Shuvah asked the question, that how could it be, if Hashem knows everything that's going to happen, how could it be that we have a choice? And he gives an answer. And the Ravid says, if you don't really know the answer, why'd you even ask the question? You're just bringing us up for making us all apokarsim here. And it comes the Arizal, and he gives an answer. And the Arizal, there's a Kabbalistic answer to it, which I just want to hold off for a few minutes. But no, the answer is no, not lamafreya. That when we do a chet, even if we chose wrong, and even though we're going to get an onish for it, let's say, you did something Chaim Misa based on the Sanhedrin's going to kill you. But it doesn't mean it wasn't the Ratzon Hashem. But what does it mean? You can't ask me a question on what I don't understand. I'm just saying. What does it mean it's the Ratzon Hashem? That Hashem wanted this to happen. And by the way, this is not unique to Reb Tzadok, but let's take for a moment what we usually learn this time of year is the Tomer Dvara. So the Tomer Dvara in Midah Aleph, the Midah Aleph, the Tomer Dvara is Mikel Kamoicha. And what does he say there? Ramosha Kardavar, the Ramak. Mikel Kamocha, he's Medayik in the Lashon of Kel, that particular name of Hashem. What does he say there? He says that, look, the Hashem is a Melech Ne'elav. Hashem is so insulted, is so offended at the offended king, because there's no such thing as doing an Haver, says the Tomer Dvara, that he's not empowering us at that moment, and that he could take away our power. Sharei Yerobim ben Nevat did take away his power, his hand frozen midair. He's giving us the koach to do the Avera. We're doing the Avera, and not only like biting the hand that feeds us. No, he's moving our hand. We would have no koach to even move our hand or to bite in the case of that metaphor. So the Tomer Dvara says, okay, you see from here, Hashem is a melech nelav, and that's the pshat that Talmidei Chachamim should be nelavim bein amolvin, that even if you get insulted, you don't insult back. This is a very delicate point. So the Tomer Dvara is teaching us that what we have to be, we shouldn't, and even if we're nelav, we shouldn't be olive. And the pshat in the Tomer Dvara, as I always explain, is that what we shouldn't be is reactive to other people's comments about us or to us. Meaning, I have a standard. Saying simple pshat, I have a standard. My standard is that I don't get angry. So no way you're going to come and push a button and make me angry. If I do get angry, then I haven't really worked on my kas. Yeah. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Hashem Hashem, Ani Hashem koydem achet, Ani Hashem acher achet, Ani Hashem lo shonisi. That Hashem doesn't make a shinoi between koydem achet and acher achet. What does it mean? Standard is by standard. There's no way that that a person is going to lower Hashem's standard, and there's no way we should ever let anybody lower our standards. So if I don't lie, if I'm an ishamas, you're not going to make me lie. If I'm humble, you're not going to turn me into a balgaiva, because I'm like Hashem. I don't change. It's be'etzem a milo, but he calls it a melech nelav. What according to Reb Tzadok, the pshat is, which is lashon of the Zayar, by the way, melech nelav. According to Reb Tzadok, the fact that Hashem empowers us to do a chet, let's take it a step further in Reb Tzadok. Not only is he grudgingly giving me the power to do a chet, I'm just going to let you do what you want to do, as some kind of a form of chinuch or something. No, Hashem is giving me the koach to do the chet that the Tomer Dvara is talking about, because that chet is Ratzon Hashem. Did I give you a headache? Yeah.
It's got to be at a higher level. It can't be, he wants me to indulge in my titles. He's saying that you have to go through that experience. There's some other totzot, I assume. It's not that you eat the cheeseburger.
You could say all kinds of theories. I'm just saying, like, that the Metzias is that Hashem is empowering me to do the chet, Not only because he has patience with us, because he gufa ratzon Hashem. So, how could it be? So in other words, like, I don't understand the question. Ask me again. Yeah.
The example that he's giving us the ability to choose whatever we want, and that is Ratzon Hashem, and that's ultimately Ratzon Hashem.
I don't think that's what he means. He means that either, like Abraham's saying, that something good's going to come out of it, or, that's easy to understand. Meaning, like if like the Gemara says that already, that if somebody is chayav misa, so he'll bring some kind of rotzeach to come along and murder him on the street. So this guy didn't have error, but he's doing the Ratzon Hashem. That's not so hard to understand. But like the murderer on the street who's killing the guy, was he make a bracha? An innocent person, that's the strange part. To say that it in itself, that the maisa itself, not just the uftu of the maisa, not just the outcome of the maisa, but the maisa itself is Ratzon Hashem. It's a pella. So let me show you something. If you just, I think the way to work this is, when I said at the very beginning, this is Ikar of Tzadok. This is the Ikar of Tzadok. I think the part that a lot of people get very excited about Reb Tzadok is you hear a lot of people, it's transformative and it changed my life. You hear a lot of these things, and I often think to myself, like, it's beautiful, Reb Tzadok. I'm somehow not getting this, but I think that it is that like even the bad that I am, and is it like you could call this like a Hasidic idea, even the bad that I am is actually good. I think that's, but you can't look at that like a child. You have to look at that very carefully. So if we go a little bit further.
It's also a Rabbi, it's also a because Ratzon is like, Hashem says all these things, don't do that. So it's hard to understand that as Ratzon.
That could be his Ratzon.
Yeah, and it's also, there's a cloud in the Suki of Shiur that haven't told. Like there's something that's called Ra that we're supposed to hate.
Yeah, that's the kasha. That's the kasha. Let me just make it a little bit of a deeper understanding. And if you skip a few pages to Os Mem Tes, Reb Tzadok says, you find this also in Takonos HaShavim and in the Pri Tzaddik in various places, mostly in Parshas HaTshuva and Hazinu. But here he says as follows: Kol echad. Do you have nekudus in your thing? Okay. So Chaim, how do you read the next word? Kol echad. Yeah, very good. Kol echad yeda means not everybody knows. Everybody should know. That's the correct thing. Kol echad yeda. Everybody should know. B'ma sheyitzrei toikvoi b'yoser. That whatever your biggest challenge is with your Yetzer Hara, who kli muchan lo'isam dvarim b'yoser, that's telling you that challenge, the fact that I'm challenged in this thing, I could do everything, but I just can't stay away from Lashon Hara. That means that Lashon Hara is your thing. Who kli muchan lo'isam dvarim b'yoser liyos nikiyim v'zakim atzlai. That means like everybody, and this works with another one of Reb Tzadok's very famous principles, that just like the Gemara says, there are no two faces that are exactly alike. There are no two neshamas that are exactly alike, and how everybody has this unique individual thing, and it's what they have to accomplish in this world. And how do you know what you're so unique in? So there's two ways. And I'm just giving you Torah Shabbat. There's mitzvahs essay and a mitzvahs lois essay. Mitzvahs essay, you could tell something about yourself by the things you love to do. I just love to give tzedakah. I just love to eat Shabbos cholent. Whatever that's one definition of your soul. And another definition is by what I'm really challenged in. The other thing that makes me different than everybody in the world is that I have, you don't understand, I have like a real Yitzhahara for Avera X. It's really a thing. So those two things, the mitzvah I love to do, and the mitzvah and the Avera I love to do, those are the two things that make me the unique person that I am. And if I don't know that uniqueness, I can't get anywhere because I don't know what my avoda in life is. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about what's my mitzvah. And I spend less time thinking about what's my Avera. I have so many to start choosing. But if you take the time and you start to think, and this goes back to what we said in Mem. This goes back into the Seichel Anelam, that we have to understand that we are 100% unique individuals, not only in the world that we live in, but in all generations. There's something that we have to contribute that nobody else ever contributed before, nobody else will ever contribute. And if you don't make that contribution is lost from the world, period. So it's just important to spend time. Elul is a great time to spend time and say, well, what is my unique contribution? Not to the exception of all other mitzvahs and naziros from Averis, but there is something special that's mine. And maybe you need to be you have a Yetzirah to be a great conqueror. I need to conquer. So as a kid, maybe you're a bully. But as you grow up, you become Alexander the Great, who was a bully. And if you're a tzaddik, so which he wasn't, if you're a tzaddik, so now you become the gadol hador. And this just shows us how we shouldn't squash these things out of kids, because this has to be dealt with great sophistication. This is the whole tachlis of the child, but this requires a huge amount of chachma and balance to be able to understand it. But the yesod is, everybody has something which his Yetzirah is tokef biyoser. Okay, are you thinking of yours? Who kli muchan? Somebody can be. I'm afraid because I don't want to look at anybody while I'm giving an example. Who kli muchan lo'isam dvarim beyoser liyos nikim v'zakim etzlai ubedvarim shahir ba lifshaya bahem, and in the areas which I tend to sin a lot. I don't have a Yetzirah so much like to eat treif pizza. It doesn't very like. But or to eat chazer. So that's not my thing. Other things, but that's not my thing. So the thing that not just you want to do, but shehir ba lifshaya b'him, averes that you have done, yeda, you should know, shehu kli muchan liyos daika ba'oisa davar naki ubar levav. That's your kli, that's your weapon. That's the thing that you have to fulfill your tachlis in this world. The Medrash says, so the Medrash says that in Vayikra, that if you did a chet with you did a chet with your hand, so you should try to do a mitzvah with your hand, right? If you walk to a makam asr, you should walk to a makam mutter. Says Reb Tzadok, ein zerak tikun la'avera kademas mida keneged mida. This is not just like undo the avera by doing a mitzvah with the same foot, or the same hand, the same nose. It's a tikkun for that hand. Now you're taking the hand which is motivated to do something ra, and you're doing a tikkun in it. So now this hand, I've got a hand that nobody else will use, and I'm using it l'toif. Because everybody has to make a tikkun on something. Asher by nisyachta nafshay befrat, and that's the yechidus of your nefesh. And there's nobody else there's nothing similar to it in the world. Like we all have a certain tendency to chet he's talking about, which nobody. I'm a gadol adar in that avera. I'm the gadol.
Why do we have to do that avera? Why can't it just be something that is like our yetzer inside us, or nitiyah to do something, and we're conquering it?
Because then you're not doing it, because you're not doing a full tikkun. The full tikkun is when something comes completely lamaisa. Otherwise, it's an undeveloped yetzer. Now, again, let's just be mature. He's not suggesting people do averas here, because that won't work anyway. But and you still get the oynish, you still get everything. But we're talking about somebody who's doing tshuva. Here's what we're talking about. The person is past the avera. Now he's doing tshuva. What is the tshuva that you do? And so part of what you're looking at, which is the last thing we're taught to look at, part of what you're looking at is how that avera was the Ratzon Hashem, Bashert. If I didn't do that avera, this would not have happened. I would not have built a yeshiva. I would not, whatever. Choose your avera and find its thing. But it's just worth thinking for a few minutes about what's our avera. I think what's our mitzvah is a little bit easier because some people love to, people have all kinds of mitzvahs they love to do. I see people, some people love esrogim, some people love to have a sefer Torah written. All beautiful. But what's my avera? That's already real cheshbon nefesh. It comes out of Chiddush al Chet. Is like an avodah of discovering. Is that it? No, let's try another one. It's actually a growth process, not a necessarily only about charata on the al Chet. The vidui could be the vidui is finding your chet. Kanoida, let's go a little bit further. In a Kanoida Maimer HaKadmoinim, Al Maimer Rabbi Seinu, the Gemara says in Shabbos, the end of Masechta Shabbos, the Gemara says that they asked the Amoraim, different Amoraim that were there, the Gedolim, the Rosh Yeshivas, asked them, Avicha b'mai zoyer tvei. What was, what was your father particularly makbid on? Avicha b'mai zoyer tvei. According to the way, if I'm not mistaken, according to the way Rashi understands the Gemara in Kuf Yud Ches and Shabbos, is Avicha, what did he tell you about the most? What was his, what did he concentrate with you? So the Reb Tzadok says, it's the name of the Arizal, Kanoida Maimer HaKadmoinim, it's Chaim Sharmem Tes, that's the Arizal. Al Maimer Rabbi Seinu, on this, that the Gemara says that they used to ask the Amoraim, Avucha b'mai zor tzvei. What did they ask him? So the Arizal says, if you look inside, I didn't, but it's quoted on the bottom of my Tzidkas Hatzadik. He has this quote from the Arizal, but what it comes down to, just read you a line of it, Zelo Shoinai, Harishoinim shayu yoidin tlias hanitzoi shalahem, hayu mistabkim l'ksas mitzvahs yoiser me'acherim. That's another Arizal. That it was important to the earlier generations, it's not in our chinuch, to work out what is the nitzutz of my neshama. What's a nitzutz? So why is this spark? What?
Light shot.
What?
Light shot. That's when it starts to hold.
So
Something was impacted. And
nitzutz. When Adam Arishon, as I'm saying on Shabbos, and this ties in very much to what we're learning on Shabbos, everything we're learning here, but Adam Arishon was the Rosh HaNitzotzos. He was the Tipus Ben Adam. And everybody took a piece of a different spark. Adam Arishon was Adam Akkad, came from Adam Akkad, and had everything in him, and all of humanity are Bnei Adam. So everybody has, like when you hit a rock, a spark comes out. So every neshama in Ruchnius, the Arizal, is a nitzutz of that neshama. We took one tiny little piece.
like a pixel on the screen.
Okay. Also, this happened again by Moshe Rabbeinu, by the way, by the Shviras Haluchos. The Tzitzus went flying, and all the Gedolim spoke about that. Rav Kook writes so amazingly. Rav Kook, he writes that when he was in, I guess it was right after World War I. I guess he was like in this gullus in Europe, and that's where he met his first Talmidim, Zeitlin and the university professors. Mostly they were taken by him, by Rav Kook. So he said, I spent my time in gullus being malan netzitzes. That's what he writes. That there's a netzitzes that fell. What was his name? Your grandfather, uncle,
Nazir.
The Nazir. What was his name?
David
Cohen. Also, he was considered one of your great uncle. He was considered one of the netzitzes that Rav Kook was mala. But so we're talking about mala netzitzes as finding sparks everywhere and bringing them up. But here's the spark that we really got to find. The Gedolim and the Amoraim were busy finding their own spark. The sparks in Switzerland or Germany, they were busy finding their own sparks. And what is the mitzvahs of my neshama? So how did they know? This is the Arizal's pshat in the Gemara. How do they discover? They would talk amongst each other like a chabur. They would talk amongst each other about how do I know my nitzitz? And the way they would do it is avicha b'may kazoyer. Like what was your father's passion? What was your father's, or what did he want to create a passion in you? What was his mitzvah? What was the avera that he was most worried about? Because that tells you about the nitzitz on Hashem. So then we have like a whole Kabbalistic idea of what my Yetzer Hara and my Yetzer Tov is what I am. And what I am, a definition of myself, also defines my purpose in this world. And my purpose in this world is the Ratzon Hashem. Get the math? My purpose in this world is the Ratzon Hashem. So at the end of the day, you're right. Like I have to go so far as to actually do the chet. I guess so. That at the end of the day, if I do tshuva, we're talking about the Baal tshuva, I have to realize that I'm doing tshuva, I'm taking that zadoin, and I'm making it into a schus. And that's simply the pshat in the Gemara, the Chiddushes in the Gemara. Shes doinos nasa kisliyos.
He has to be your father.
No, but there's the result talks about that there's a certain kasher of it's a biological father. There's all kinds of. I always come across people that like to say, I say, so and so. He was my Ben Bias. I don't know why that always got on my nerves. It's my Yitzhar. Ben Bias. But what the implication is, somebody comes to you for Shabbos, not your Ben Bias. The implication of it is that I was makasher to his neshama ka'av al haben, and helped define the nitzitz on neshama. We're out of time, and there's like a million things to say here, even in Memtes, and I want to finish the Bechira and Yediyah part of it, which is intrinsic to this whole idea. But I want to introduce the concept. This is the concept Tzadok introduces in the union of tshuva, how lemafreya, as you say, lemafreya, if I can catch it, if I can chop it in my seichel anelam. Meaning, if I don't chop it, then it's a wasted avera. But if I can chop it, because we're not only talking about what's going on in Shemayim, if I could chop, if I could look back at my avera, and of course I have charata that I did the avera, and I'm going to figure out how not to do this avera anymore, and I'm going to say vidui on the avera. But if I could figure out how that helps better define my nefesh and my neshama, so now that's going to work for me, not just in the tikkun it may eventually bring, but that's going to work for me because I'm a better defined, purposeful human being in this world. And that's the pshat, Tzadok says, in Zdoinos Nasa Kischuyos. So does that mean I'm not a bad person? I'm talking not a bad person. I mean, the point is, to the extent that I don't fix that and change it and use that as moving my tachlis on, I'm not doing anything. I'm a Russia. But if you get to the place of Zdoinos Nasa Kischuyos, So then we've done tshuva me'ava, and we'll go back and explain, like, what does that even mean, tshuva me'ava? How do you do that? What do you do it? But that's the mathematical cheshbon of the Seichel HaNelam. I thank you.
And then where it says Yira Hashem, it sounds like it's coming from.
It's got, yeah, the Seichel HaNelam you can't get without Siyata D'Shmaya.
So it's
Daven.
I'm going to wait for Hashem to.
Daven, not wait. Daven. Yeah, in other words, one of the things to daven for, besides for like parnasa and refuah, is Shiur Hashem Einenu, V'har Einenu, V'har Einenu. That's
I learned where I went from the Yeshiva.
is picture.
Yeah, and I think the Shita is called Yeshamayim Afilu Yeshamayim. Really like the same idea that really everything
Same thing.
is
Yeah.